Welcome to a new episode of the Practice Success podcast powered by Canopy. Today we are talking to Nancy McClelland, a CPA who is also known as the Dancing Accountant. Nancy shares how she is intentional about the growth of her firm and the clients she serves so she can follow her joy and not necessarily grow for growth's sake. She also shares how she is incorporating her true passion, dance, into her professional life as a speaker to help small business owners and other accounting professionals. Welcome to an episode of Canopy Practice Success. I'm Casey Brothers, and I'm here with Nancy McClelland, otherwise known as
the Dancing Accountant.
Will you give an introduction of yourself, what you do today, and your nickname?
Yes, definitely. I was hoping you were going to ask about the Dancing Accountant nickname. So we run a firm called the Dancing Accountant. There are 8 of us. It's a hyper-local firm in our neighborhood of Logan Square, Chicago. Almost all of our clients are from this neighborhood that we've been deeply entrenched in for years. But our team members are all over the country because it's 100% remote. And we celebrated our 21st anniversary last year.
Yeah, you did. You're legal now. You could go drinking.
That was actually the theme of our party. I am not kidding you. You're so on point.
I love that.
We had a blowout block party. It was fantastic. Like the local chamber of commerce and so many of the clients, the small businesses in our neighborhood are clients of ours. So like we had a client who's a band. We had it was amazing. And yeah, the theme was, we're finally legal to drink. So there was plenty of drinking too. It was great. But it was actually that little neighborhood that gave me my name in a sense, because I actually do dance. I'm in 3 different troupes, and one of them is a 1960s go-go dancing troupe.
Fun.
It's so much fun, Nancy Sinatra, these boots are made for walking.
Yeah.
And we were doing a gig in a local park that is a pro bono client of mine. And I was in full costume, I had my boots up to here and my little mini skirt and everything like this. We were teaching little kids how to go dance. It was so much fun. People would bring picnics and, have a good time. So I walk up for this event and there's a client of mine with her kids talking to another client of mine, picnicking together. And she says, "Look, kids, it's the Dancing Accountant." And I was like, well, forget Nancy McClelland, LLC, which is what I had been up to that point. I mean, it was just on point. Actually, the anniversary of that day just happened a few days ago, and she sent me the little Facebook memory of that photo for that. It was great.
Now you are the Dancing Accountant.
I'm the Dancing Accountant. It's kind of wonderful. I never would have expected that just changing my name like that would end up becoming like a brand of sorts. But people, they remember your personalities.
Yeah.
They remember maybe the color of your hair, or they'll remember, some quirk about your sense of humor or something like that.
Yeah.
But they don't necessarily remember your name.
Yeah.
But when you've got the Dancing Accountant, like it is,
how can you forget it?
Yeah, people remember that. I also love to dance. Like tonight we're having this prom. I have got all the red tulle. I've got this amazing prom dress that belonged to a dear friend of mine that she actually wore to her prom.
Fun.
And it's so much fun. And you also end up with really wonderful experiences where, I was actually the first guest on John Garrett from What's Your Aunt? I was the first guest on his podcast, which was really exciting, and got to tell the story about how I met Misty Mejia at SleaterCon and Doug Sleater because it said the Dancing Accountant on my tag, and he went, "Are you really a dancer?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, why?" And he grabbed my hand, and Misty was in the process of teaching everybody how to do a flash mob for the intro the next morning. And she's been a friend ever since. So it's all because of, I wouldn't have had those opportunities if it hadn't been for
the name.
Unique brand.
Yeah. Well, and just goes to show you're more than what you do 8 to 5.
Absolutely. Which is John Garrett's whole idea. What's your and? I'm an accountant, I'm a CPA and a dancer.
Yeah.
And so, I'm sure you have an and. What's your and?
Mom, baker, biker.
There are so many.
Yeah.
Right? I think it really is nice for when I'm working with clients, or I'm thinking about somebody that I might be, might be a potential client. if they're not interested in working with somebody because it's like a silly name or something like that, well, then, I mean, I'm not interested.
Yeah, let them self-select out.
Exactly. And so that actually works out really well too. Most of my clients love it. And not only do they love it, I have to say, even though with one of my groups, Fabulous Leaders of Fitness, we performed to like really large crowds. The gigs where I get nervous are the small ones that are at client locations, like a client's bar or cafe or something like that. Like those events, they terrify me because I think, well, are the clients not going to take me seriously anymore because I'm wearing a fringe dress and a fascinator? But they love it.
Well, and it's an invitation for them to be human. We all have something weird, something that we might not show right away to people, especially in professional contexts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And rather than hiding that, letting that blossom, letting that come out. And, it's one of the reasons I love conferences like Scaling New Heights is that you realize that our whole industry is like that. There are so many people who are colorful in so many different ways.
Yeah, and that there isn't, as much as people want to put an accountant in a box.
Yeah.
Of you are a numbers person, you are boring, you are whatever they might list off. Like
bean counter being a perfect one for Canopy, because I know you guys had a coffee stand at Scaling New Heights.
But we all make our own molds. We all go through this life so differently and have our differentiators and the things that set us apart and help us serve our clients in unique ways and the ways that they want. Like you were saying, even like them self-selecting in or out because of the signal that your business name is sending.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Something that I'm curious how you're handling right now, especially in the context of being a unique brand, but then, and still having all of these more traditional bits of accounting going on, is AI. What are your thoughts with using AI in accounting? How does it help you stand out, differentiate yourself? Can it? What does that look like for you?
Obviously, accounting, bookkeeping, tax, advisory, all of the areas in which we work, we do the full arc of services for our clients. It's fertile ground, for AI involvement, for automation, obviously. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be asking that question. And for us personally, we're really excited about it because our biggest challenge is staffing, for sure. I guess it's kind of a boring thing to say is our biggest challenge because it's like almost everybody's biggest challenge right now. And we have 8 incredible team members. I love every single person on our team. But hiring for the senior accounting positions and for the CPA positions is just hard. It's so difficult. So we're really excited about embracing what IA can bring us in as much as we're hoping to take some of the things that are on the shoulders of the senior members of our team and pull it off of their shoulders and put it onto the shoulders of some of the more junior people on our team. And AI is something that can really help us do that. It's something that we can leverage. And then for the more junior level staff, we can take stuff away off of their plate that nobody needs to be doing, that we can actually have programmed away. And we're excited about that. I think where I get nervous about AI, and my husband is a software developer.
So you have lots of dinner table conversations.
We do, a lot. And one of the things that he and I talk about is, what is the space going to look like in the future if we remove all of these junior level tasks off of our junior level people to become more mid-level team members, right?
Which is great because you're leveling them up.
Absolutely.
This is a great opportunity, like where the pain is, okay, we can't hire, we have work, we need people to do the work. But instead of seeing this as a hiring problem, you see it as an efficiency problem.
Absolutely.
You
make things a training opportunity.
And then you scale them up, but then it does create a new problem.
It creates a new problem, which is, where is your next generation, I'll call it, of junior level staff going to come from, right? Because we learn by doing a lot of the time. And there's a sort of, a apprentice master relationship or a journeyman kind of thing where you're learning how to do things and then you go to the next level and then you're learning how to do those, you go to the next level.
Yeah.
Once those stepping stones are gone because AI has removed them, for example, we no longer do manual bank reconciliations anymore. That would be absolutely ludicrous. But training on bank reconciliations by doing it manually is this amazing way to really understand the process.
The hands-on,
it's not just check
muscle
marks.
memory.
Yeah, you're actually learning the concepts of why would a bank balance look different than the balance that's at the end of the statement? Well, you've got outstanding transactions and you can see those outstanding transactions when you're doing it manually. I know some people who've trained on doing taxes manually because they don't want to just have their junior level staff be like, oh, the software will take care of it. Like, no, you've got to understand all of this. If we take a whole nother section of manual tasks away, which is great and wonderful, but where's that learning curve coming from? How are junior level folks ever going to get entry jobs or get to mid-level? How are we going to help them along that path? I mean, I think that is something that I'm not hearing enough people talking about. And to that end, I think that we're also not educating enough as far as the usage of language is concerned and AI. I think in the past 20 years, we've seen with chat and texts and you're emailing,
shortening,
you don't worry about, you just fill in the rest of the sentence, suggestion, or it tells you when your grammar's not great.
And so it does it for you, so you're not figuring it out in your brain and calculating what you're saying.
Yeah. So as a result, there's been less of an emphasis on language skills. Well, with AI, it is absolutely essential that when you're talking to them, and you're asking for what you want, well, first you have to visualize what it is you want.
Which may be the single hardest thing that any human can do.
Absolutely.
What do you want?
So you've got to visualize it.
Yep.
Then you've got to be able to describe it.
Yes.
Right?
Accurately.
Clearly. And in a detailed way, but also in a way that is going to show nuance. It's going to have color. It's going to have your style or your angle, your perspective. These are very difficult things for us to be able to say, to use our words out loud, especially when we've been having, a bot fill in the rest of the words for us for a really long time. And so then we have to evaluate the product once it comes out the other end. And it's not going to necessarily match what we wanted.
The feedback that doesn't undo what you already did, but just furthers it closer and closer to what it is you want.
And it's going to be an iterative process. We expect that to happen. But I do think that those are two of the challenges of AI that aren't being talked about as much as I would like to hear them be talked about. In the short term, I couldn't be more delighted because my staff is excited about it. I'm excited about it. There's a tool by Hector Garcia called Write Tool in QuickBooks Online that I just love. And one of the things that it's doing, for example, if you go to the bottom of a report, there's a button you can click and it will help you write out an analysis of the financial that you're looking at in real words. So, this is
not
something that we've been having, we've been having one of our junior team members go through and, my husband who's on our team has created these wonderful macros where we export financials and we highlight the variances that are within, certain parameters. And then a junior member goes in and looks at all of that, and writes it all up, does her best to, interpret them. And then it goes to a senior person to review that work and add some depth to it. And now Write Tool actually lets you do the junior level part it's just automated. And it's fantastic. And it's not always 100% right every time, but it learns.
Yeah.
So, that kind of thing, we're like, bring it on. This is great. We're really excited about embracing that for our firm.
So not only are you saying that AI will impact how we find, not necessarily how we find, but maybe the level of knowledge and skill someone might have coming into a junior level position, and then what that means Well, I guess this would be the next piece is what does that mean for the firm onboarding that individual? And how can you ensure that with the skills that they've gained, whether it's been in college or experience, is adequate? Or how can you give help in that process?
I think evaluation, it becomes easier and more difficult at the same time once AI gets involved. Evaluating hard skills gets a lot easier. It really does. Evaluating soft skills, for example, in our company, we have a culture where we don't bring anybody on board that we don't truly, genuinely like as a human being. We want to be friends with each other. We want to support each other. We want to be on a team together. I don't know that AI is going to do a really great job in evaluating resumes as far as that's concerned, at least not yet. Maybe it'll get there. And so identifying those folks, bringing them on board in the first place, I mean, there's still a very human aspect to that. And I think there should be a really human aspect to that. It's something that I'm not excited to give that part up to AI anytime soon.
No, I mean, relationships, I don't know that. I mean, maybe I'll eat my words in 20 years, but I don't know that computers can replace relationship building and assessments and all of that. But I mean, speaking of 20 years from now, I mean, AI has disrupted a lot just in the past 6 months. It's been around for a while, but it's made some serious progress recently.
And made some serious headlines recently too.
Yes.
I think it's been out there and it's been, you know, it hit the big time.
When you look forward, what do you see for your firm?
Wow, that's a great question. We're actually in the process of some big changes that I'm excited about. We're in the process of bifurcating the firm so that I can spend more time on education, outreach. I've got an award-winning blog.
Yes, you do.
At thedancingaccountant.com. And I'm really excited about that kind of work. I mean, I love working with our clients one-on-one. It's absolutely a delight, but I can reach so many more people, so many more small businesses, or even better, if I'm teaching, for example, concepts about tax and financial statements to bookkeepers, then they're using that with their clients. And so it's an even bigger reach. And I love that. I'm so passionate about it and I get so much out of it. But in order to do that, I can't be doing all the client work also, right? I can't be as involved as I have been. And so we are slowly trying to figure out in our firm, well, how are we going to sort of extract Nancy from that so that I can focus more on, the public speaking and the educational component to it. And a realization that I was talking actually with Blake Oliver from the Cloud Accounting podcast last night about this. In our firm, we've got this culture where the folks who come to us and want to work with us, they are there because it's meaningful work, it's flexible work, and it's remote, right? They're not there because they're like, I want to work all the time. I want it to be like CPA firm and I want to hit partner by age, 35. That is not our vibe at all. We're a caring culture. We want to be there for each other. And the way it's supposed to work is, and I have to remind them about this sometimes, it was so sweet. Earlier this year, one of our team members was going through really tough times. And she wrote me, she was just like, okay, here's how I'm planning on taking care of these clients, during this time while I'm doing this and that and the other. Here's what I think the schedule is going to be like. Here's going to be the time frame. I want you to know that I do not take this lightly. And I wrote back, I know you don't take it lightly, but maybe you should, right? They're working to live, not living to work. And that is what I want. When somebody has something wonderful happen in their life, I want to be able to be excited about it and support them instead of being like, oh no, what does that mean for my firm? Mm-hmm. And so we've tried really hard. It's not always easy and I've made mistakes, but we've tried really hard to focus on the human element of the work that we're doing.
Man, and just the name of your firm probably is just a constant reminder that this is our identity. If I'm going to identify this way outwardly to our clients, I need to do the same thing.
I got to do it inside. Yeah, absolutely. It's got to be human focused. And what I realized was that I I'm doing that for everybody else in my firm, and I'm not doing it for me.
Man, isn't that?
Oh, it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts. So that's what we're slowly in the process of trying to streamline the things that we could streamline, offload the things that I can offload, figure out ways to use AI and automation to help our team members with their jobs so that I don't have to be, a bottleneck. And the more that we can do this, and I'm actually telling them, I want to have the life that I want for you guys. Let's like help you guys, help me have that life as well. Help me look at this job that way as well.
Which can be hard because it's your baby.
It's my baby. So that's the direction we're moving. We're excited about it. We're supporting each other, and I want for that kind of, because flexibility and work-life harmony are not the same thing. I have a very flexible schedule, but if I take a day off during the middle of the week, no problem. But I'm probably making that up on the weekend, right? Or I'm coming back home to the home office that night and I'm working, and I need to be getting myself out of that. So that's what our next 5 years are looking like.
Yeah, well, good. Congratulations. It's not an easy journey. It's not easy to say no.
So hard.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I have a great idea for a podcast that my colleague Question Telka and I are thinking about starting, that the first episode would be called Start with No.
Yes.
And the idea would be when, you've got a work thing that you get, you're excited about, like, oh, it's that speaking gig that I've been excited about, or it's that, shiny new client, or it's whatever it is that we're excited about. Start with no. Be like, no, if the answer were no, if I started there, how would that make me feel? What would I be letting go of? Don't have the impulse be to always say yes. Start with no, and then be like, okay, well, what if I didn't say no, but I said maybe? What would that look like? What if I didn't say maybe, I said yes, but it's going to be limited in my involvement? I think it's a really great idea.
Hey, that's a great place to end. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. I've really enjoyed being here. It's been such a pleasure.